Is your local election headquarters: Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina, and Alaska. Those are the states yet to be called in the race for the White House. Neither Joe Biden nor President Trump have the 270 electoral votes needed to win. They're still counting votes in all of these states. The president wants them to stop in the ones where he's ahead. Laura Podesta has more from Washington.
Supporters of President Trump gathered outside a vote counting center in Monroe County.
We're not trying to break in. We just like to watch you count the ballots.
The president trails former Vice President Joe Biden in Arizona, but there are still votes left to be counted. In Detroit, Trump supporters demanded Michigan officials stop working. The president had a lead on election night, but CBS News projects Biden won the state after legally cast mail-in ballots were added to the total.
And we are here to defend the right to vote.
Activists around the country marched through the streets yesterday.
It's our right to vote. All the votes must be counted for.
The Trump campaign is launching legal challenges in several states.
We're going to win Pennsylvania, but they're trying to cheat us out of it.
The president holds slim leads in both Pennsylvania and Georgia, but the remaining ballots, all cast on or before Election Day, come from Democratic-leaning areas.
In Pennsylvania, every vote is going to count.
CBS News projects that former Vice President Joe Biden is the presumptive winner in Wisconsin, but that lead is small enough that the Trump campaign is expected to ask for a recount.
We believe we will be the winners.
Speaking in Delaware, the former vice president looked past the election.
It'll be time for us to do what we've always done as Americans, to unite, to heal, to come together as a nation.
In addition to Arizona, Nevada is also leaning toward Biden. And with electoral votes from those two states, he would be right at the 270 needed to win. Laura Podesta, CBS News, Washington.
And President Trump currently leads in both North Carolina and Alaska. As the Trump campaign files lawsuits against vote counting procedures, many wonder what's being argued. The new filings demand better access for campaign observers to oversee locations where ballots are being processed and counted, as well as absentee ballot concerns. One local political science professor says oversight into ballot counting is not a new tactic.
In Michigan, the president has asked for an injunction because they're not allowing people to observe the counting of the ballots. This is actually a tactic that politicians have used for many years, even Barack Obama.
Well, Joe Biden responding to the president's lawsuits, claiming his legal team is ready for a battle before the Supreme Court if necessary. The president's claim of victory and calls for a stop to ballot counting prompting protests in major cities. In New York, 20 people were arrested after reports of fires being started and objects being thrown at police officers. The NYPD says several officers were injured as they tried to disperse the crowd. The protest was organized by a group called Protect the Vote. Protesters occupying a voting center in Maricopa County, Arizona, outside Phoenix late Wednesday. More than 200 there claiming ballots have not been properly counted. The group then moved to the state capitol building demanding a recount. According to the Associated Press, Biden has won Arizona while other news agencies still have yet to call the state. Election officials in Georgia counting votes through the night. The state's 16 electoral votes could be enough to send Joe Biden to the White House. We'll have updates on Georgia and other states still counting throughout the morning. Protests happening around the country and here locally as well. Several dozen demonstrating at the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Park Wednesday. The group says President Trump's claim he won the 2020 race was made too early, and campaigns should wait for all ballots to be counted, including ones cast and mailed before or on Election Day.
Trump is already trying to undermine the election and say that he has won when that's not true. Because there's a lot of people out there that think my vote doesn't count because the Electoral College, but like we're watching right now, those states flip because of your vote.
And protesters say there could be more demonstrations locally and around the country. Let's have a look at our local races now. We have a winner in the 25th congressional district race. According to the Associated Press, Joe Morelli has won re-election, beating Republican George Mitras and Libertarian Kevin Wilson. Other congressional races, state Senate and Assembly races not yet called. some results could shift due to a high volume of absentee ballots this year. The Monroe County Board of Elections is reporting just over 97,000 such ballots returned. Absentee and affidavit ballots will not be counted until November 16th. Of course, the process of accurately counting those ballots is critical. Josh Navarro tracking that part of the story. He is in studio this morning. Josh, good morning.
Good morning to you, Mark. Here in Monroe County, all eyes are now on those 97,000 absentee ballots that still need to be counted to confidently call many races. They are currently being processed at City Place downtown Rochester. Democratic Commissioner Jackie Ortiz says they are checking the oath signatures and inputting the voter ID from each ballot into the system. If there's any issues with the oath envelope, there's a chance for the ballot to be cured. The board contacts the person and then they have a certain amount of time to correct the issue. Meanwhile, affidavit ballots are being pulled to the service center. Republican Elections Commissioner Lisa Nicolay says the board needs to report that number to the state within 48 hours of election night. Affidavit ballots are given when someone tries to vote and for some reason doesn't show up as a registered voter. The Board of Elections reminds everyone that both affidavit and absentee ballot procedures are standard.
We want all our voters to have their absentee ballots count, and so we wait for all of them to get in.
We have staff, bipartisan staff, that researches each of those folks to see if they, did an affidavit at the correct location, where their address is, if they were maybe formerly registered, if they're registered in another county within New York State. Those are things we could count that ballot for. But if someone did it just because they missed, like, the deadline or something like that, then it's probably not going to count.
Now, once all the absentee ballots are processed, then the board will begin to check for duplicates to make sure that those who voted absentee didn't vote another way. Absentee ballots and affidavit ballots will be counted on November 16th. In the studio, Josh Navarro, News 8.
Josh, thank you. For more election-related stories and the results, go to our 2020 election guide at rochesterfirst.com.